we'll switch over to Space News and we'll see what's up. Nice mustache. Thank you very much. All right. I'll be back momentarily. See you on the other side of the break, and we'll go from there.
Discovery, go at throttle up.
All right, dudes. I'm back. Owen's had a 37-month resub in there. Oh, geez. Oh, Andrew, that's a lot of stuff. Okay. All right, let's jump into space news. Let's do this. All right, let's just put that down there like that. There's a lot of stuff that I have to go
Discovery,
through here.
go at throttle up.
Including the video. Dizer, 32-month resub. I heard about that. Hellfish, yeah. We'll jump into that in a moment. Okay. Let's get that going here. I gotta start transferring all the links over here. Gotta move everything around. Okay. There's a lot of good links. Hell Hydra, this is cool rating NASA's technical, rating NASA's images like this. This is good. Gets us a lot of good footage that would have otherwise been missed. Alright, I think I got all of them. For space, what is that switch? Yeah. Oh, neat switch. Yeah, okay. SpaceX is expanding Roberts Road. Oh man, dude, this is a lot. It's gonna take a second to organize all this. Man, it's gonna take a second. Don't forget the most important news of the day. History of the world. Alright. Now I have to organize over here. Okay, so let's get that over there. That can go at the end. Yeah, I have the Microsoft link. Yes. Okay. I'm trying to just group all the James Webb stuff that you guys linked all together here. Okay, that can go over there. All right. This just in. Oh dear. Oh boy, here it comes. Everybody just decides to release space news right when I do space news. No, it's just a coincidence. We know about the deep space Habs, Lunprod. Yeah, that's a whole thing to talk about. We got to talk about Starliner. Hey, Bandit, what's going on?
Discovery, go at throttle up.
Yeah, Dessa, every time. Hey, Josh, 59137. Find a splashdown mission for Electron. First catch booster visible in the last tweet in the thread. Cool, cool. All right, buckle up. Aha! We're ready to go.
Discovery.
James Webb is just too expensive to be doing. You have to. All right, so the topic of today is expensive payloads being moved around on trucks, okay, or planes. Here, we'll start with this. This is coming from NASA's Exploration Ground Systems here. This was last night. The Artemis 1 Orion capsule with its launch escape system installed and its fairing, the ESM fairing installed, is ready for integration on top of SLS and was moved to the VAB this morning. It should be stacked in the next couple of days. Pretty much by the end of this week will be good. Check that out. There is a full stack inside of the VAB. Not fully stacked, but a full stack. Should be getting stacked today. So it was moved into the VAB. There it is, inside of High Bay. It's either that's either High Bay 1 or High Bay 4. I'm going to go ahead and guess that it's 4 because the SLS is behind it. See it over there? SLS is right there. So this is High Bay 4 inside of the VAB. So there's 4 bays inside of the VAB. There's 1 over here. 2 is right here. 3 is where the SLS is. And 4 is a staging area. It's so nice seeing the VAB in use again. They should be building 2 rockets next to each other, Bandit. But yes, this is a crewed capsule, right? Reveril, this particular one will not be carrying crew on it. It is, it basically has everything in it but some environmental control and life support systems. Basically, it's not carrying enough. It's not carrying fuel or for the life support system. It's not carrying oxygen on it because there's no people on it. So this has no seats inside of it and no ECLS that's designed to support humans. What the Artemis 1 mission is supposed to be doing, it's an all-up test of the rocket, but it's also a test for the Orion capsule to prototype long-term uncrewed habitation in space. Basically, can you leave the Orion capsule in space for a good amount of time? And yes, you can. Or at least that's what's planned. That's what will be done on this mission. This capsule will shoot to a distant retrograde orbit around the moon, stay out there for a couple of days around the moon, and then come home. All automatic. Or automatic. Well, not automatically. Remotely. Partially automated. So, that basically prepares all the systems for putting the crew on there, which is the Artemis 2 mission. Now, speaking of Artemis 2, the European Service Module, the SM for Artemis 2, was delivered to KSC and is in the operations and checkout building here. The LES is not active. It only has the eject motors. Okay. No trash can. Is it a demo? Kind of. Yeah, pretty much, Reveril. Yeah. It's a demo for every system except for the ECLS. Hey, Volga Sniper. Привет, Antonov. Как дела?
Discovery, go at throttle up.
Ooh. Hello, big boy. How much landing gear you need? Life has many doors, Edward. Pandas, 42-month resub. Thanks, man. Yes, I am fly. I am pilot. Correct, animal. That and you need a lot of gear to hold up a freaking heavy plane. Let's see if they use the gantry crane that's built into the back. Oh, she's kneeling. Oh, that's so cool. Look at that. What a mechanism. That's cool. And don't get me wrong, C5s have something very similar, but it's still cool to see one working. Oh, yep, see, it's on its rails there. Well, that's pretty cool. Rollers. No, this is the European service module. The ESM for the Artemis 2 mission. This is the service module that'll be attached to the Orion capsule that moves people out to the moon for the first time since 1972. Stop. Ston. Don't drop that thing. Don't drop it. Cool to see Russian equipment helping us get back to the moon, at least this way. Hey. Huh? Vashi, we should work together more. It's a good look. It's a good look. I like this. Russian plane, European module, American crane, American truck. Yeah, I like this. This is good. This is good. All right, we should do this. In Florida, I might add. Do you think 50 years ago they'd ever... anybody in their wildest dreams would look at this and be like, yeah, that's normal. An Antonov landing in Cape Canaveral? What the hell? I like it. That's cool. Oh man, look at all these birds! Birds everywhere! Pray to God you don't drop that stuff. I was alive 50 years ago. Definitely no. After the Apollo-Soyuz mission, anything was possible. Bandit, shh, quiet. What's that creaking noise? Stop creaking. That's the Neil Armstrong Operations and Checkout building. Link? Sure. Russian-built plane delivering European cargo in the U.S. Yeah, that would have been a hard no. Yeah, look at this. Bird! 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 Bird. Yeah, oh, hey, she's kneeling. She's kneeling down. Oh. Oh, that's nice. Yeah, I like everything that's going on in this picture. Yeah, yes. Yeah, oh. I'm gonna move the crane in. Okay. Whoa. Okay, level the load. Yep, very slowly. Level the load. Pick it up. Bring it over. I like how they have advertising on the bottom of the nose. Contract service, bro. Volga Knifers, state-owned corporation, man. You can hire them. You can hire them to move them. Dude, I saw one of those. I saw an Antonov at Logan Airport one time in Boston. It was very confusing. I was with Wheatley, a viewer that I know that I've known for a long time. One of my good friends. We were driving out of Logan, and we were like, "Why is that there?" And he's like, "What is that?" I'm like, "That's an Antonov." Hello, big boy. That was pretty cool. Awesome. All right, so let's keep going with the NASA news here. Actually, here, Hell Hydra, we can go into the next bit here, which shows the other end of this operation, the Orion capsule service adapter, or OSA, just the Orion service adapter, lift and mate to the SLS. These next pictures you might enjoy here. Oh, stacking. Rotate it into position. Hello, big boy. Hello, Ed boy. So this is the adapter that adapts the SLS's third stage to the capsule that you saw being moved with the pointy nose on it. This is the penultimate piece to complete the SLS stack. Needs even more yakety sax. Hey. Hey. Look at that. How are rocket stacks secured between each other? Anything else besides nuts and bolts? Well, it really depends. Is it a decoupler or is it a structural point? The Orion service adapter on the bottom is a structural point, so it's just a lot of bolts. That's why they have the stringers in there, so you could fit a bolt and a nut through it. There's a lot of bolts. If it's a decoupler, it's less bolts, but they're explosive. They blow up. It'll go right to your thighs and then you'll blow up. It depends. Depends on what you're attaching to. This has an inner adapter plate here that adapts to the European service module that also will decouple from it. But yeah, bolts for the most part. Bolts don't carry the load. The flanges carry the load. What does that mean? Painty. So, okay, you have your what you're trying to attach stuff to, right? And it looks like this, okay? Right? And then if we all right, what this looks like if you looked at a cross section of it will look like this. Okay, and then the bolt hole will be right here. This flat part, right, that'll have another thing drop down onto it, looks like this. Right? And then the bolt will go through here like that, Silekovsky. These are called flanges. Flanges are flat mating surfaces where you hook things up to each other. There's probably a pilot dowel on this somewhere to make sure that they get the bolt holes aligned. So there's basically a stud that sticks out, and they'll get two of the holes aligned on the studs. They'll start putting bolts in, and then they'll take the studs out and put bolts in its place. Now, if we're getting into a separator mechanism, well, that's a little bit of a different thing. A separator mechanism would, long story short, look like this. They would have boxes inside here, and then you'd see two wires coming in and out, and those two wires would be the positive and a negative to get the thing to explode. Basically, it's a bolt with a shotgun cartridge inside of it. Yeah, that's pretty much it. And the shotgun cartridge goes off and blows the bolt in half or cracks the nut in half if it's a frangible nut, and that allows it to separate really fast. Usually, though, if you have some type of separator mechanism, they're at like cardinal points. So 1, 2, 3, and 4, depending on how it bolts together. That particular flange from the ICPS to the OSA, like this, that's bolted. It's just it just bolts together. Square or round CO2 filters, your preference. What? Is that an Apollo 13 trick question? What about explosive structural bolts? Explosive structural bolts usually aren't a thing. You don't want your explosive carrying load. How I like to describe it, Tsiolkovsky, and how it applies to Kerbal is thus. Docking ports are bolts. You don't bolt something to something else and then have the bolt carry that load. No. That's not how that works. The bolts are just holding two flanges together, and the flange is what carries the structural load. That's why I use fairing plates for structure all the time, because that's how real rockets work. Nice, Core. That was a joke for the record. I know. So yeah, the OSA is just a bunch of bolts. Yeah, just a bunch of bolts. Hey, it looks like the flange goes inward instead of outward on this. But there's a separator mechanism that should be up here somewhere. Let me put it to you like this. They're not picking it up at 12, 3, 6, and 9 for no reason. My guess is that the integration structural points here probably line up with the explosive bolts and decouplers, if I had to guess. But you got to remember that it's a little more complicated than that. The reason it's a little more complicated than that is if you look at Orion, right? Nope, that's a different thing. If you look at Orion and how it's bolted and how it goes together, well, you have an outer air shell, right? And then you have your service module on the center, in the center inside of this. The service module is what's carrying the load, but you have an outer aerodynamic panel. See, now this gets a little bit more complicated. Here. How this whole mechanism works is like this. Check this out. So, attached to the Orion stage adapter is the ESM spacecraft adapter right here. That bolts to the OSA. Like I'm saying, that's the decoupler mechanism. See the decoupler mechanism right there? I'll bet you it's borrowed from the no, the ATV is the Europeans. Yeah, I'll bet you it's borrowed from the payload attachment mechanism from the European ATV, because the Orion service module is the same design as the ATV. So it's already something that we've used before on Ariane 5, believe it or not. Last, please. Okay. Yeah, here's a picture of it. Flag, give me 1 second to finish this up. Yep, see? Bolt holes. Let's see if there's a pilot dowel somewhere. See the flange? The green part. What's that? And there's CubeSats on the inside of this sucker. Your decoupler mechanism, savage. So it's probably been borrowed from that. Now, if you go in here and look, the spacecraft adapter has the service module panels mounted right here. They're mounted right there to bridge the gap. They go to this service module adapter here that adapts the service module to the crew module. So you have a jettisonable boat tail right there, and then that's attached to the OSA, or to the spacecraft adapter, which is attached to the OSA. From the spacecraft adapter forward is already assembled. That's already made. I got rid of the picture of it. And then from the Orion stage adapter down is already stacked. So this is all inside of the VAB. The last thing that they really need to do is just put it together. They just need to bolt the spacecraft adapter with Orion and its launch escape system to the Orion stage adapter. One mating option left. That's it. And then this is stacked in the VAB, the Block 1 configuration. Hey Charney, thanks for the raid. Is it a bulkhead? It's not really a bulkhead. It's an adapter. It's a ring. Differences. That's it right there. That is that piece that we saw being stacked in the video. That's that thing right there. Same piece. I'm looking for the pilot dowels, but it looks like they're not installed here on this one, Syakovsky. How's it going to mate? They'll take one bolt and they'll put it through one of these holes on both sides, and they'll... So if I had to guess, this ring piece is what's carrying the load of the spacecraft adapter. That's my guess. It's an interesting thing to note is that this is not cylindric, which is kind of strange. It actually adapts out because SLS is basically made out of a bunch of spare parts. So the adapter goes out, and then the spacecraft adapter goes in, and then there's a fairing. It's very interesting to look at. Because in the renders and stuff, like, see how that goes slightly outwards? In the renders, you don't see that. In the renders, it looks like a straight line almost. It actually is going to go slightly outward and then straight and then inward at the top. Why are the tanks orange? They're painted in spray-on foam insulations. It's SOFI. It's called SOFI. Spray-on foam insulation is to get the hydrogen to play nice, basically. It's an insulator to keep the hydrogen cold so you can get more performance out of it, Reveril. I'm doing fine, Charney. Everything is good. We are tech support. Are you satisfied with your solution, Cheat Charney Raid? Oh, I'm very satisfied. Yeah. Do SLS's first and second stage have a RUD device like a C4 brick? There's a launch escape system. There is a flight termination system incorporated into it. Yes, Swishio. It's derived from the shuttle, and it's on the SRBs. Yep, and here's the ring around the bottom of the decoupler. Here it is, right there. Thank you, Thomas. So this piece right here is carrying the plates, if I can find it, because I zoomed in way too much. This is carrying the aerodynamic plates on the service module Orion stage adapter right there. It's carrying the plates. And then down here, here's your decoupler. See this thing? That's a decoupler. And if you look, this plate right here that says cover arm on it is going to be attached to the, it's attached to the spacecraft adapter. And if you look right here, see that right there, Salakovsky? There's your flange that I was telling you about, but it looks like it's inside of a box. See right there? There's the boxes right there. That's a decoupler. There's an explosive bolt in there, and what they do is they put the explosive bolt inside of a box so when it explodes, it doesn't damage the spacecraft. See that right there? There's your decouplers. There's 1, 2, 3, and 4. Yeah, there's probably just 2 more in an identical configuration on the other side. Yep. And those are structurally carrying load right there. But the box is what's carrying load. The bolts just hold it in place. And then you see right here, it has a little seeming like axis panel right there and right there. You know what that's for? To get the wrench in there to tighten the bolt. Seriously. Stuff isn't complicated, dudes. And then you have 2 carriers right here. These 2 things are going to help carry the those bow tail plates on the outside. Are those all refurbished shuttle orbiter maneuvering engines? Yes, that's why it has marks in it. This thing flew on the space shuttle. I'm telling you guys, SLS is literally made out of spare parts. It's made out of spare parts. That's a shuttle ohms engine right there, an AJ-10-190. Last 2 lonks. I sell spacecraft parts and spacecraft part accessories. Yep. All right, let's take a look. Here's them before they installed the decoupler plate in. Okay, 6-axis decoupler. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And there's your pilot dowel right there. See that? They use that to line it up first. That's just a bolt. It's not an explosive bolt. They'll put this thing on there. They'll line up one of the slots. And then they'll put another one over here, line that up. And then they'll attach 1, 2, 3, 4 explosive bolts. Then they'll take the 2 pilot dowel screws out and put the real ones in its place. That's how you make sure everything is aligned. It's called a pilot dowel. You see how that bolt tapers off and it looks like a point, right? It doesn't look like a bolt. It doesn't look like there's a thread on there or anything, right? It looks like it kind of goes inward because it's a pilot dowel. And it looks like it has a rubber tip on the top right there, so you don't scratch the dang paint. Quite literally. You do not want anything interfering with this mechanism. You don't want the pilot bolt to scratch something or crimp or pinch a wire or something. You absolutely need that separation mechanism to work correctly, or else you're going to have a real bad day if you don't. Not trying to be a bug, just reminder of my video when you're done. I don't remember you saying that I need to watch one of your videos, Flyke, and I honestly, maybe it's just because there's been a lot of information talked about today. I don't know what you want me to see. So if they use the OMS, who got the contract to make the new ones when they're all going to be destroyed in re-entry? No. Possible dad joke. NASA actually awarded the contract on September 21st to Aerojet Rocketdyne to actually make a Mark II version of that AJ-10 called the OME, the Orion Main Engine. And NASA bought a bunch of them for $600 million. The period of performance is from September 21st, 2021 to April 23rd, 2032. They bought enough OMS engines for Orion capsules for the next 10 years for the most part. Yep, Aerojet Rocketdyne's gonna crank up some new ones once they're done. Sorry, this video. All right, I'll check that out. So, yeah. You want my honest opinion? Should have done that from the start. You should have done that from the start. They should have just started making RS-25Es out of the gates right at the beginning. And they should have started making Orion main engines right out at the beginning, but they couldn't because $30 billion. It's just ended up costing $60 billion over 20 years instead of $30 billion over, like 10. It's all linear when it comes to this stuff. It's just when you want to do it, which is hilarious to me. But, yeah, whatever. It's happening at least. And then here's your staging adapter right there. Yep. See the flange? On a decoupler mechanism, this is how you know this is a decoupler. Or at least part of a decoupler mechanism. It's only 6 bolts. On anything else, you have tons of bolt holes. See them all right there? These bolt holes right here are going to go to this. See that? If you want to check out some cars, planes, and rockets I saw this weekend at Le Bourget, do it. Oh, I will. What kind of performance improvement are we talking about here? Yes. One performance increase. You would want the engines to be of the same factory. Yep. I love how they keep it simple with these things. Well, when you're talking about an expendable launch vehicle, like SLS or Atlas V, you have to keep it as simple as possible. It's when you start moving into reusability that you see more complicated stuff. But yeah, it doesn't have to be difficult. And once again, we're not really at the point, I don't think, just yet. Soon, though, where making a super heavy launch vehicle fully reusable makes a lot of sense. Soon that'll happen. Today's static fire window was canceled. Static fire is now no earlier than tomorrow. Okay. Perfect. So, yeah, with SLS, see, SLS is basically picking up where NASA left off in 1972. That's basically what it's doing, only it's shuttle derived. That's the only difference. I know this is completely wrong, but what could be some unbiased cons of space exploration? I thought contaminating other planets with microbes. Anything else? The cons of space exploration? Well, there's a bunch, dude. What do you want to know? SLS is a bloated piece of crap. Yeah, Peg, you know, if NASA valued your opinion, you would work for them. How do they access the bolts that connect the adapter to the main stack to install them? There's a little recessed port on the flange where you can get the wrench in there. So Swishio, okay, cons of spaceflight. What do you want to know? I can tell you the cons. The cons are the price tag. It is expensive. It is expensive. It's expensive and it takes time. That's the problem. And you know, we might be building towards a market that doesn't exist. That feeds into a much larger thing about, it's like the chicken or the egg theory with rockets. Do you make a rocket to anticipate market demand, or do you make a rocket thinking that there's going to be demand because you have that rocket? So SpaceX is building Starship, right? Is there any market condition that proves that Starship is going to be financially viable? No. Not a chance. We don't know if it's going to work. They thought the same thing about the space shuttle that they think with Starship now. I mean, I do. They thought the space shuttle was going to be routine access to space, and nope, that didn't work. You know, it is a little bit on the expensive side. I don't think it's particularly too expensive. But once again, what are the other cons? Personally, dude, this is something that I actually believe. I don't think it is a good idea to have A, the government being the only one to have access into space, or B, a corporation having the only access into space. It could easily devolve into a monopoly. And if the government gets a monopoly on going to space, well, as evidenced by the Apollo program, if nobody else can do it, they don't need to. So they'll get rid of it. Simultaneously, if a corporation is the only one that's allowed to get into space, something like the Expanse could happen. That's probably not a good idea. You know, one of the cons I think is that, you know, we do especially nowadays put way too many eggs in a commercial space flight basket. But once again, you know, we're gonna have to achieve some kind of symbiosis in the future. Now these are kind of weak. Let me think of the good stuff, dude. But I want to recreate Outer Worlds. Let's see, Swish. Let's see. What's another one? See, you can say that spaceflight has a big environmental impact, and I think that would be fair to an extent, but saying that spaceflight is bad for the environment is about as stupid as saying that you living is bad for the environment. Because it's true. It's true that humans being on this planet and existing is bad for the planet's climate. You know, that's just obviously, you know, for the folks that think that, you know, believe hardcore in the man-made climate change thing. Yeah, absolutely. Humans living is the problem there. You know, if you want to look at it like that, you can, I guess, but that's a weird way to look at that. You know what I mean? Saying that spaceflight is the problem is barking up the wrong tree. You want to bark up the right tree? Figure out why container ships, for instance, are exempt from emissions. You know, see, like, every single one of these arguments is weak, but if you want to hear them, there they are. you know, I do release a lot of methane. Cruise ships too. I was shocked to see the amount. Yeah, I mean, you know, we're shipping stuff we're manufacturing stuff on one side of the planet and shipping it to the other side of the planet. Physics is physics, man. It's going to cost a certain amount of carbon at this one, in the form of diesel fuel and bunker C heavy fuel oil to get it over here. That has tremendous carbon emissions, but nobody ever talks about that. Nobody ever talks about that because, you know, people, you want to, do you want to change the environment, or you just want to be seen looking like you want to change the environment? You know what I mean? You really want to tackle this problem? Figure out a better way to get cargo from the other side of the planet here more efficiently. You know, these are the problems that I don't hear anybody talk about. Everybody, we got to stop climate change. We got to stop screwing with the climate. We got to stop screwing with the climate. Oh, no. I need a new iPhone. Imagine how much carbon emissions were used to get that iPhone into your hand from the other side of the world. They're manufactured in Shenzhen. Nuclear, that's a possible way. I mean, once again, like, going back to this centric point here, like, you know, you could say that the environment locally could get messed up by a spaceflight program if a rocket fails. Yeah, absolutely. But once again, barking up that tree is not the right tree. If you're going to argue cons of spaceflight, I wouldn't go with that one. What's another con? So we went over economic things, environmental things. We had a carbon-free way of transporting cargo. They were called sailing ships. Yeah, right. Hey, Ali, 45-month resub. I'm worried about Earth bacterias migrating to Mars. We already got tardigrades on the moon, and they're probably doing just fine. Yeah, but that's local environmental contamination. It's not like when somebody opens a hatch on a spacecraft on Mars, we're going to contaminate the entire planet. Mars is gigantic. Economics feed a lot into that. It's expensive, hellfish, but how do you make an expensive means of transportation cheaper? You do it in mass production. We can't assume what the space politics will be like, but we can assume it'll only be bad. No, I never assume it's going to be completely dystopian, but I don't ever assume, Ivo, that it's going to be utopian either. It's going to be most likely be something in the center, which is why I've always said that NASA doing their thing and SpaceX doing their thing is the best way to go forward. Because we tried government space programs in the 60s, that didn't work. It wasn't sustainable. One drove the other one out of business, right? And then that was the end of that. And then they pulled the plug on it. Commercial and public partnerships are the right move forward. And that will basically crush any economic problems in the future. SN20 test got scrubbed for today, Alex. It'll be tomorrow. Sorry for the detail, but sometimes it's good to remember to be unbiased. Swishio, if you can't argue the other side that you don't agree with when it comes to that thing, you're not well versed enough in it. You're not well versed in it. Long story short, some of the biggest critics of spaceflight criticize that it doesn't happen overnight and it's very expensive. But once again, like, it goes back to it. Spaceflight is not that expensive. It is a lot of money. Could that money be used elsewhere? Sure, absolutely. Could it be used to help people? Sure, absolutely. But if you want, that's like going after NASA because of their pricing. I'm trying to think of a good analogy because there's other things that you should, if you're worried about how the government spends their money, NASA's probably not the right thing to bark at, because for the European viewers, all right, so the people that don't pay taxes, all right, pay taxes that end up funding NASA, for every tax dollar, about 0.45 cents goes to NASA. So for every tax dollar, half of a penny, a little bit under half of a penny goes to NASA. That is an inconsequential amount of money on the tax dollar. That's nothing. It's nothing. You have problems, with other programs being wasteful. You should look at some of the biggest expenditures that the U.S. has for the most part. Now, once again, I'm not going to say which ones. I know everyone's going to default to defense, but actually what I would suggest is you guys go look up where our money goes, where your tax dollars go at the federal level. You'd be surprised. If 50 cents go to the military, you'd be... Peg, you should go look up that information, bud. That's what you think. Nope. Go look it up. You'll see. Now, long story short, saying that spaceflight is expensive would be like going to the penny candy store and saying that penny candies are expensive when there's like candy bars for $1 somewhere else. Like, it's really kind of weird. Like, all right. 65% of the budget is non-discretionary. Like I said, you want to go look up where that money's going, you think it's going to defense. Defense does get a good lot of it. A lot of folks think that a lot of it goes to NASA, and then NASA doesn't do anything. That's a huge misnomer. No. It's not. Go look. You take pennies from the tray, the ones that are for everyone. So, like, Switchy, it's hard to point a lot of flaws with spaceflight. If I had to say there's one fatal flaw with spaceflight in general, it's deadlines. It's the thing that I talk about all the time. If I'm going to pick my bone somewhere, I would pick my bone with how they spend the money, okay? Now, I know that's what everybody says. This is the kind of stuff that Eric says over on ours. Like, oh, I don't like how they spend the money. I don't like how this, but he does, like that. He never goes into specific examples. I do like the SLS program. I do like Artemis. There are things that can be done better. But the reason why those things happen isn't due to any like corporate malice or anything. The reason that this stuff happens is because we have no set goal. Okay? What's the goal of the Artemis program? To get people back to the moon by 2024? Is that it? And stay there. Okay, so the stated goal is to go back to the moon sustainably and stay there. He was the only one to bring this up, remember? Remember this guy? Hey, Jim. He was the only guy to bring that up. And that's why I like Jim so much. Do you hear that being said now? It's like, oh, we'll go to the moon, maybe we'll do Gateway. And I'm not saying that Bill is bad. Bill's okay. I don't mind him. But the only thing that the NASA funding will... NASA funding gets spent a lot more. They're a lot more deliberate with the books when you have a goal. Like, one of my biggest criticisms of the early SLS program was that there was no goal. It was, build a rocket. Maybe it'll work sometime in the next 10 years. Maybe it'll do this. Maybe it'll do that. Maybe it'll go to an asteroid. We don't know. There was no set goal. There was no set goal, and there was no real concrete deadline. When the SLS program first came about, they said, maybe we'll fly in 2017. And then a hurricane hit. And then said, no, maybe we'll fly in 2018. And then that didn't happen. And then, maybe we'll fly in 2020. And then that didn't happen. And then, 2018 rolled around, and Jim started the Artemis program, and he started going in there with a concrete deadline, and they made changes because they had an end goal to work to. That's my biggest criticism of NASA. And this same logic could be applied to the shuttle program. You really want to know why we haven't gone back to the moon in the last 50 years? No balls. No balls. Nobody's willing to commit. That's the big one. That's it. There it is. Nobody's willing to commit. People are too risk adverse. And I'm not talking about NASA engineers. I'm talking about no politician is going to commit to doing something like that because if it doesn't work, they'll look like a failure. Politicians being slimy? Oh, please. Tell me more. Like, see what I'm talking about? Nobody has the balls to commit to a program like that. Well, one guy did, but... Apollo 8. No, we need space balls. That's what I'm talking about. That was the same situation that JFK was in during Apollo. I vote, you want to hear how much stones JFK had? He went in front of Congress in front of both chambers of Congress and said we should go to the freaking moon. I believe this nation should commit itself, before this decade is out, of sending a man to the moon and returning him safely to the earth. Could you see a president doing that nowadays? Out of the past like 5, did you see one going to Congress and say we need to go to the moon now? No stones. See what I'm talking about? That's the real reason why we haven't been back to the moon in 50 years. And the whole thing is lack of a concrete program. They said, you know, with the space shuttle, they said the space shuttle will build a station first, and then it'll work on interplanetary tugs. And then we'll use that to go back to the moon. And then we'll use that to build transfer vehicles to go to Mars that are nuclear powered. And they presented that, and they said, all right, fine, just build the space shuttle. We'll do the rest of that stuff later. 40 years later, the shuttle accomplished one of those things, building the space station. Never worked on interplanetary tugs, never worked on nuclear propulsion, never worked on going back to the moon. In 1972, when Gene Cernan left the moon, he said, well, we don't know when we'll be back, but it'll probably be soon. Everybody thought that the shuttle would get people back to the moon in, I don't know, 5, 10 years at best. Nope. You see what I'm talking about? Swishio, that's one of my biggest criticisms. You need to have deadlines. If you have deadlines, nothing happens. You need to commit to one. And look at Elon. He commits to deadlines all the time. They don't miss them. I mean, well, they do miss them. So what? They still go faster than anybody else. NASA needs to do that. That's what they did during the Apollo program. You had a decade-long deadline, and they hit it. No deadlines without any competition, no competition without an adversary. Why do you think I've been so incredibly vocal of commercial and government space programs? You know, folks think that, oh, China's doing this, China's doing that. Oh, China, they're doing that. They're launching people to this, they're launching rovers to the moon, blah, 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 blah. It doesn't seem like they, you know, government to government is great, but what happens when somebody wins a space race? When somebody wins a space race, generally they just say, all right, pack up shop, we're done here, and then they move on to the next thing. Just like what happened during Apollo. Not sustainable. That's the biggest reason why I think Apollo wasn't sustainable, because the Soviet Union gave up on going to the moon. Soviet Union gave up on going to the moon because they got wind of NASA funding shifting to the shuttle program. They figured out that Apollo was going to get defunded, so they canceled their moon program. And then they tried to build a shuttle based off of you know, our shuttle, right? Well, not tried, they did. See what I'm talking about? Government to government is that's great. That's great for getting the technology out there, but that's not sustainable. The real sustainability comes between commercial and public. That's that's my biggest criticism of the space program. And NASA needs to compete with SpaceX. Come on, put on your big boy pants. Compete with SpaceX. Come on. But once again, you have to have a deadline for them to do that. That's how NASA competes. Because NASA offers a service in space that nobody else does. All right. They don't. They offer service in space that's not available to anybody else. You guys saw what commercial spaceflight could be, you know, with Blue Origin and their suborbital rocket and Richard Branson with his suborbital rocket. You know, you saw what that could be a thing. Do you want that for space to be one big advertisement and watch billionaires jerk their own chain about how much they've accomplished, right? I don't want that. Now, don't get me wrong. Elon isn't like that. He doesn't do that. He's an engineer through and through. I still don't want that to be where space goes. I want public and private working with each other, but also working as two viable means to get to any particular destination. That's my biggest criticism. How's the truck? Which one? Parkinson's law, work grows to fill allotted time. Correct. If you don't give a solid deadline, they'll scale. Why do you want to know the reason why nothing got done on SLS in the early 20-teens when they first envisioned it? No deadline. Nothing. What's its mission? What's it do? Maybe to an asteroid in the 2030s? So guess what? Boeing set their expectations for the long term. Oh, you don't need the rocket. You said you might go to an asteroid in the 2030s. Well, it's 2012, and that's almost 20 years away. So let's set up a factory to go dead slow. Because we're scaling, our expectations to your timeline. And look at what happened when Jim came in there and changed the timeline to 2020. Stuff actually got done. Funny how that works. Hey, from France, how do you see the Artemis program? Do you believe in the schedule? I believe in deadlines, B12. Is NASA going to hit 2024? It's going to be difficult. It's going to be really difficult, especially since Blue Origin, NASA wasn't given the money to select 2 providers for HLS. It's going to get difficult. So Blue Origin, brought NASA to the Court of Federal Claims over wrongful down select of an HLS. That's gonna mess with it. But either way, even if you don't hit the deadline, you still got something done. Even if you miss it by a year, that's further than you would have been if you had set if you'd set the deadline to the year that you completed. So say instead of 2024, NASA says we're going to go back to the moon in 2028. Well, if NASA says they're going to go back to the moon in 2028, nobody can predict the future. There's no concrete way to say that. That means we're not going back to the moon until 2030 or 2029, right? If we say we're going back to the moon by 2024, I would like to hit 2024, and NASA should hit 2024, but it wouldn't be entirely too unrealistic to say that it'll take until 2025. But still, even if you get there in 2025, that's faster than if you had set the deadline originally for 2025. This is how this works, guys. Yeah, Lunprod, that's why I'm so a big vocal advocate to this day of Constellation. Understand? You need deadlines, Swishio. That's my biggest one. NASA needs a plan. They need a solid plan. You can't just say, oh, let's build a super heavy launch vehicle that's made out of leftover shuttle parts that might be of use to us in the future. That's dumb. That's real. I have a real big problem with that, and I've had a big problem with that for the better part of a decade. Since I read the original Journey to Mars proposal, I'm like, wow, this is stupid. We replace Constellation with this? Oh man, we're boned. It's a big reason Starship is being developed so fast. Elon sets the bar high, AJ. Everybody's like, Elon time. He has no idea. He has no idea what he's doing. The guy can't time manage. No, not at all. He can time manage like a champion. He has his unrealistic expectations, and he knows if everybody grinds forward towards those unrealistic expectations, it'll still get done faster. If SpaceX had said, oh yeah, we're gonna get Starship Orbital in 2022, they'd get it done in 2023. Even SpaceX with Elon's goals do this. Elon does the same exact thing. But look, at the end of the day, what drives SpaceX? These crazy deadlines that Elon comes up with. See what I'm talking about? Anyway, there was puns in there for a second. Possible dad joke here. Had a puns. Let's see. Nice. Thanks, Geeson. How are you today? I mean, Swishio, I could keep going. There's other things. I can poke flaws in going into space. I could do it all day. Because I can argue against something that I very much believe in and not get, about it. That's how you critically think. That's critical thinking. If you have an idea that you think is good, you don't try to prove that it works. You try to disprove it. Do we not do this anymore? Like, NASA can get to the moon by 2024. Launch a Dragon on a Falcon Heavy on a free return trajectory. Dragon, wait, what? No, Falcon Heavy isn't human rated, Allie. What are you talking about? Well, I cut my arm open. Are you okay? Look at how far from SN5 we come, which was a little more than a year ago. Correct. I honestly could accept the 2025 landing if NASA can get 2 launches in 2025. Agreed. How is tough enough? Tough enough's fine. It looks far worse than it is. Okay. It could be if NASA wanted to human rate it. Allie, human rating it would put Falcon Heavy down for like a year, at the very least. Human rating requires a complete technical overview of the entire vehicle, all systems from the top to bottom. There's a reason why SpaceX didn't human rate it, because they didn't see a market for it. That and Starship's gonna be way better. But, I mean, I suppose... But even a free return trajectory, dude, even if that's the case, is that returning to the moon for you? Returning to the moon is putting a flag in the soil. For me. Like, if you want to go on free return trajectory, sure. Yeah, I mean, I don't see why you couldn't. I bet you, knowing SpaceX, that it's probably safe enough. I wouldn't do that. Nah. Dragon to the space station, sure. Dragon to somewhere else, I don't know. But... the point is, Allie, that even at the end of the day, all right, so let's entertain the idea, and I got to get back to the main news here in a second, but let's entertain the idea that NASA said, all right, screw it, we're going to do the Artemis program with Falcon Heavy, all right? Say they wanted to do that. Now you got to order a bunch of Falcon Heavies, and maybe you can reuse the side boosters in the center core, okay? But if we want to do this on a reasonable schedule, right, you want to really go back to the moon and take it seriously, I've always said that you need 2 launches a year. So 2 launches should be enough to refurbish the Falcon Heavy, etc., build a new upper stage. What are we sending? A Dragon capsule. Okay, you can send a Dragon capsule on a free return trajectory. Now you need some type of system on board to be able to retro burn around the moon, to litho brake, to circularize around the moon. Okay? Dragon doesn't have that. It has no service module. Dragon is just using RCS, where its service module should be is a trunk. Now, okay, let's go even further. Let's say that SpaceX converted the trunk into a service module. That service module, before people get anywhere near it, is going to need to go through PRR, a CDR. It's going to need to go through structural fabrications. Hi, Brimo. It's going to have this huge pipeline process all the way till it's certified for human flight. Now you're putting that on top of Falcon Heavy. Now you certified Falcon Heavy for human flight. That's going to take 4 years, 3 to 4 years at best, even with SpaceX's fast deadlines. Okay, so now it's 2024. You have your capsule up and ready to go. Now what? So you have a capsule that can fly on a free return trajectory. You need, with a service propulsion system, right? Okay. Now you need 2 Falcon Heavy launches. You need 1 Falcon Heavy to launch a lander, and you need the other one to launch you need a Falcon 9 to launch an Orion capsule. So now you dock on orbit to some type of lander that does not exist yet, and then you have some type of transfer stage. So you need to launch a Falcon Heavy with a Falcon 9 upper stage inside of it, send that up. Then you need to launch a Falcon Heavy with a lander on it, join those 2 together, a technology that doesn't exist. At this time, doesn't mean it's impossible. Now you need a Dragon capsule to attach to that. So you have Dragon capsule, your lander that you just conjured up out of nowhere. That take another 5 years of R&D, and then a fully fueled transfer stage, and then you send that back to the moon. That's going to take 10 years to get that whole thing figured out. Give me a second, please. That's going to take 10 years to figure out that whole thing. So what constitutes going back to the moon? And at the end of the day, doing all that extra development, all that extra things here and there, building a service propulsion system, building this, building that, you still think SpaceX can do it for cheaper? It's a hard sell, man. It's possible, though.
I have a question.
Okay.
I blame my mother.
All right.
How do you feel about Red Sox grandstand tickets for tonight for 125?
For what?
125.
When?
Tonight.
Tonight? You want to go to the ALCS?
I'm asking.
Why? Do you have a line on some tickets?
Yes.
To the ALCS. Baseball. How much do these tickets cost?
125.
A piece?
They're grandstand tickets.
What time's the game?
8:08. So, hold up before we get too excited.
As an Astros fan, I say do it. I can't, dude. I haven't been streaming enough lately. Why are you doing this?
I don't know if these are crappy or not.
Where are they? Right field line, guys. Right field line, partially obstructed view. As a future Houston Astros fan, mandated by local Houston laws that I have to abide by when we move in a few weeks, +1 to doing it. Who cares? It's the ALCS. What? Well, since you appear to be going to a baseball game tonight, I should let you know Jenny's fundraiser is now at over $31,000. The space community has come out in full force, though that's good. We look out for our own, Vulcan. I want you to know, but I'll also know that I will forever judge you if you go ahead. All right. You do, Jay. I got so much work to do. Thanks for giving me a reason to procrastinate. Oh, don't say that. I want to let you know that if you don't go to the game today, I will boycott your stream today and turn it off. Jared Isaacman dropped 10K. Yeah, I knew about that.
I don't know.
Oh, who cares about the view? Oh, Josh, I was like, what?
I don't know. Like, is that any good? That's only like an approximate view.
Man, we were having some good spaceflight conversation too. Here, I'll show you guys where the seats are.
I would need like an hour, so you wouldn't have to leave right now, but...
The seats are right field line. They're basically... Wait, what is it? Row 9?
Yeah, row 9.
What section?
Right field grandstand?
Yeah. Those seats are like right here.
So are you saying no?
I can't, Tiggs. A lot of people don't know. I love baseball. Baseball is my favorite. Absolute. I don't really talk about it too much because between our European viewers and just people here, sports really isn't a thing. I don't really ever get to talk baseball with anybody. Peer pressure has nothing to do with it, Grav Shark. I love baseball. Baseball is my favorite. So, here's what we'll do. You said you needed an hour. Let's do it.
Let's do it?
Go ahead.
Alright, I'll pull the trigger.
We'll keep going with space news, and then game time's at 8, which means we're going to have to go in a little bit earlier. We're going to keep doing space news, though. You regret it if you don't. It's the ALCS. I'm not going to not go, guys.
It was just like...
Discovery, go at throttle up.
Sorry.
The price is decent. I like my
As long as the tickets aren't $1,000 a pop, I'm in. Let's do it. Geeson gifted 10 subs. Oh, geez. Where's your jersey? I'll go find it. Geeson gifted out 10 subs. Oh, geez. Tape had an 18-monther. Go to the game. Well, we're going to keep doing space news, but yeah. Quick cue. What is the ALCS? All right, so quick baseball tangent, Tessa. I promise I won't bore you. So in rounders, so in baseball, you have 2 leagues, okay? So think like Premier League, and then what's below Prem League? What's below Premier, dude? I forget. Barclays? A championship, okay. So think about it like this. instead of like championship going to Premier, there's two leagues in baseball, and they work in parallel to each other. And this is at the professional level, right? Baseball does have minor league teams, so it works kind of like FIFA rules, but you can't move. Your team doesn't move to the next level. There's no relegation rules. There's nothing like that. If you have good players, the players get promoted, but not the team. Okay, so the players can get promoted from a lower team, from a championship team to a prim team. Okay, so you have two leagues that are working in parallel with each other. You have the National League and the American League. Okay, the American League has a certain amount of teams on it. The National League has a certain amount of teams on it. Basically, once you hit the playoffs, the two teams from every division get selected to play against each other. So you have the National League and the American League, and then inside of those you have East and West. Basically, there's NL West, NL East, National League West, National League East, American League West, American League East. This is not a full thing. Long story short, you have divisional series, which is teams from each league playing each other. And then you have the championship series for each league. And then the two winners of the championship series go to the World Series. I get it. They call it the World Series. That the baseball gets played everywhere else. They just call it the World Series. It's just it's basically baseball championships, right? Yeah, kind of, Driados. Yeah, minor league teams. Minor league teams is a baseball idea. It's always been a baseball idea. I agree with you, Blue. As an AL East, I agree. So, Tessa, you have divisional series, and then you have championship series. So, right now, the Red Sox, my team, are playing against the Houston Astros, which is another team that I like because Astros, they're from Houston. Houston, we have a problem. It's space flight. That's why they're called the Astros. Astronauts, space flight. So I like both of the teams playing right now, which is annoying. But they're playing each other in the American League Championship Series. So the Astros were playing against... Oh, who the hell were they playing against? I forget. Who were the Stros playing, guys? The White Sox. That's right. They were playing against Chicago. Chicago has two teams. One is in the NL, one is in the AL. They were playing against the White Sox. They beat the White Sox in their divisional series. And then we beat the Red Sox beat the Tampa Bay Rays. So we played Tampa Bay and beat them. They played the White Sox and beat them. And now the Red Sox and the Astros are playing against each other in the championship series. It's not one elimination game. In the divisional series, you play best of 5. And then in the championship series, you play best of 7. And then in the World Series, you play best of 7. Houston, thanks for the raid. Minor leagues are like academies for... You're called farm teams, Jeff. Yeah, exactly. I need redemption arc for the Astros, so go Stros. They need some redemption arc after last night, Snake. I cheer for teams that's not the Yankees. Panda Man, you the real MVP. Yep. Good to know that you value some guys hitting balls at each other rather than teaching us valuable stuff about rockets. Yeah, Josh, I'm with you on that one. Panda Man, I don't know what the hell's up with the Red Sox, man. Somebody gave them some extra Wheaties or something, dude. Go Stros in Houston. I'll let you know. Here, let me put it to you like this. Houston, I'm not expecting the Stros to go down without a fight. They're not going to go down without a fight. It's the American League Championship Series. If they do, I'd be very, very, like, what? They're not going to go down without a fight. If the Stros do win the ALCS, I'm rooting for them. The only time I won't root for a fellow American League team versus the National League team is if it's the Yankees. Oops. I'll even root for the Blue Jays. I don't care. I'm not rooting for the Yankees. Screw that. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. Sorry if there's New York fans here. I'm a Red Sox fan. I have to hate you, all right? It's just how it works. I'm from New York and I'm bored with the Yankees. What a coincidence. I won't root for Boston. Oh, yeah. See, Jeter fan, as far as I'm concerned, if you did, I would be like, what? No. Why would a Yankees fan root for the Red Sox? If you're a Yankees fan, screw the Red Sox, all right? Screw them, right? And if I'm a Red Sox fan, I have to hate the Yankees. It's like that's just laws of nature, dude. I have to do that. There's nothing I can do about it. You know, like I can't help it. I have to. It's like Fenway Park is like 10 minutes that way, and it's gonna take me 2 hours to get there, which is hilarious. Fenway Park's like right over there. I have to. It's there's no getting around it. So you're a Red Sox Tigers fan. Not really that big of a Tigers fan. I like the Lions. My NL team, if I'm going to root for one, oh God, people from the Bay are going to kill me. I like the Dodgers because I like Dave Roberts because Dave Roberts helped the Red Sox win the World Series in 2004. And Mookie Betts. I like Mookie Betts too. I'm sorry, guys. I know people from the Bay are going to kill me. Sorry. I know people from the Bay are going to kick my butt. So you going to live stream the game? Nah, probably not. Jeter is overrated. What are you, high, Hellfish? I'm a Red Sox fan, and I recognize the skills. Jeter's one of the best baseball players to ever play the game, ever. I'm sorry, people from the Bay are gonna kill me for that comment. The San Francisco Giants and the Dodgers hate each other. It's like the Red Sox and the Yankees. I like Dave Roberts too, but still, screw the Dodgers. Beat LA. Everyone hates LA. But then again, Gabe Kapler is the coach of the Giants, and I like Gabe Kapler too. This sucks. It's like watching mom and dad fight. But sorry, NL guys. If the Stros make it, I'm rooting for them. I'm on board because space flight. It's true, and American League. Can we talk about the new NASA concept for a deep space vehicle? Yeah. Mm-hmm. I hope you step on a Lego for liking the Dodgers. I'm sorry, man. My dad's a Giants fan. Does that help? Say hi to the Green Monster for you. Yeah. Analytically, Jeter is by far the most overrated. He's one of the greats to play the game, Jacob. How can you say that? I'm a Red Sox fan, and I'd say, like, you want to talk about overrated? Talk about A-Rod, man. Hey, Tron, what's going on? So, we'll finish out the rest of Space News, dudes, and then we'll go from there. I don't hate Dodgers fans. I just respect them less. Okay. Jeter's got the skills, dude. He's one of the best, like, he's one of the best guys to play the game. What are you talking about? He's a terrible general manager. I'm talking about playing the game, Falcon. because stat don't lie. All right, what's his lifetime average? Hold on, let me look. Bro, he's got a lifetime batting average of 310, 3,400 hits, 260 home runs, 1,300 RBI. What are you talking about? It doesn't get better than that. And once again, Red Sox fan, it doesn't get better than that. Like, there's not many people that are that good. You just shot Derek Jeter. Ow! You should have shot A-Rod. Oh, my God. Jeter fan, back me up, dude. Like, he's one of the greats, man. I watched the guy play. Lifetime batting average at 310. So, okay, for the people that don't understand baseball, all right? For the people that don't understand baseball, batting average is basically how, like, what's your percent chance of getting a hit? Throughout Jeter's entire career, he had a 31% chance of hitting the ball into play every time he was up at bat. 31%. That is absurd. That's really, really good. Like, the average player is like 25% of the time. A really, really good player, like the greats, like Babe Ruth, Hank Aaron, those guys are like somewhere near 500. Jeter's at 31%. That's really good. Will you stream after the game? Sure. Blue, nice. Kyron, 44-month resub. What have I done? You're correct. He was great on and off the field. On the other hand, every Yankees fan I know hates A-Rod. Well, we hate A-Rod too, so we have a weird kinship there. At least use OBPS. I think Jeter predates the oh wait, are we talking about on base percentage or OPS? Those are two different stats. Anything over 300 is disgustingly good. Yeah, 500. What was Babe Ruth's average? I think Babe Ruth was up there. Yeah, see? Babe Ruth's lifetime average is 342. Yeah, and also, let's see who's the baseball fan. Why? He has ERA on there. You know why? Who's a baseball fan? He's ERA at 2.28. That's pretty friggin' good, man. He's a pitcher. He's a pitcher and a hitter. I heard you can stream Thursday Night Football on Twitch for USA viewers only, just so you know. Interesting. Yep. If he has an earned run average, ERA is the stat for pitchers. Guys, that's on average how many points the other team scores against you when you're playing defense. And it's a pitcher stat. Babe Ruth having an ERA at 2.28 is disgustingly good. That means when he pitches, the other team on average is held to 2.28 runs, which is unbelievably good. That's really good. They're opening the cradle arms for their lift to allow them to reach the tower pillars. Damn it. Yeah, Shohei Ohtani is amazing, Hellfish. He's a really good player. He's been compared to Babe Ruth a lot. I don't think he's Babe Ruth tier, but he's definitely closer than anybody else. Hello, do you work for NASA or do you do something related to NASA? Hey Rubio. I don't work for NASA. I've worked with NASA on projects in the past. I do basically outreach for them. I've hosted panels at TwitchCon with people from NASA, with NASA scientists. But basically what I do here is spaceflight outreach. So I coordinate a lot with NASA. I basically do PR for them on Twitch. Nothing official right now, but I've worked with them in the past, yeah. But nothing right now. I'm my own thing. Orioles pitchers right now have an average of 6 ERA. Oof. But yeah, Rubio, I've worked with NASA before. I'm not NASA actual. Just I've done work with them in the past. No, this season he had an almost identical season. Yeah, well, that's identical to one season. Let's see him do it for as long as Babe Ruth did. Okay, serious. But anyway. Thank you. I've been lurking for a while in this stream, and it's fun. Take your follow. Hey, thanks, Rubio. Right on, man. Yeah, you want to learn about spaceflight stuff. I generally don't stop the stream for a baseball game, but it's a really good baseball game, and I'm going to it. But anyway, we do have some more news to share here. Let's get rid of that. Let's get rid of that. Have you offered to take over the NASA live streams? I've never offered to do it, Silekovsky, but NASA is very much an entity that will call you. You don't really call them, from what I understand. Well, not from what I understand. That's kind of what I've done in the past. I mean, I could ask. It wouldn't hurt. But I would love to. I've gotten a shout-out from them on their channel before. During the Perseverance launch, NASA Actual came into my chat and said, "We see you. We love what you're doing. Keep doing it." And I'm like, nice. Yeah, they did. Yeah, I guess they did come to me, huh? Man, if only I'd taken the hint. Scott Manley announced another runway project. Yeah. You remind me of one of my chemistry professors back in the day. It's the mustache, isn't it? They came to chat. Yeah, that's right. Ooh, is that Stucky, Thomas? Interesting. That's great. If I were a bit salty, I would say that you communicate better than everything they try themselves. Yeah. Joshua, I'm a nerd, man. What do you want? I'm a nerd, man. A chem professor would have a mustache like this. Yep. Probably a PR agent doing a PR stunt. I knew NASA's head of communications at Ames Research Center for a long time, Swishio. It's not a PR stunt. Why would they that's not public. It's not really how that works, but yeah, sure. But anyway, yeah, so we'll keep Space News going for a little bit longer, and then I gotta get going. You could still take it. Remind them. Heck, I would love to. Actually, fellas, what I would really like to push for is a dedicated Twitch science channel. That would be really cool. Like a special Twitch science channel that's just, you know. But then again, I don't know. Twitch doesn't have many official channels like that. You know what I mean? There's not like an official Oh, well, there kind of is, isn't it? I don't know if you know about that, but do you recommend any Storm Chasers Twitch, YouTube channels, etc. accounts for watching that kind of stuff? I don't know any Storm Chasers, Rubio. No, not offhand. No. I inadvertently did storm chasing when I did an IRL stream driving across the country like 3 weeks ago. We were chasing a storm, but we didn't have any reception. Does that help? No, that doesn't help. There's an official art channel. Jeter isn't the top 25. As Jeter Fence said, Hellfish, look, you're beyond the stats, man. Jeter was a good guy on and off the field, man, and that counts for a lot more than what you might think. There's Team Storm Chasers, Jan? That's cool. Neat. All right. Anyway, let's go on to the next bit of space news, and then we can talk more about baseball a little bit later. So this next tweet is coming from Arian Space here, and it is a picture of the James Webb Space Telescope down at French Guiana, ready to be integrated to an Ariane 5 rocket. To be honest, you remind me of my physics teacher. Maybe it's the mustache, but you and her are pretty similar. Cool. We out here represented. All right. And NASA actually has a video about that, so here.
On par with Apollo missions, Space Shuttle, International Space Station, and Hubble missions. For nearly 2 decades, thousands of people around the world, many spending their entire careers, built the James Webb Space Telescope. And it all comes down to this.
Once we launch the James Webb Space Telescope, there are no second chances. We have 300 single-point failure items, and they all have to work right. When you're 1 million miles away from the Earth, you can't send someone to fix it.
Los Angeles?
We've never put a telescope this large in space. We want to see distant parts of the universe humans have never seen before. Looking back in time almost 14 billion years to see the first galaxies that formed after the Big Bang. And we want to search for the building blocks of life in the atmospheres of planets orbiting distant stars. To unfold the history of the universe, we must first unfold this telescope.
This is the largest primary mirror, the largest sun shield, and the most powerful space telescope ever built. And yet, this large telescope needs to fit inside a 5.4 meter diameter rocket fairing. That's the largest fairing size available on any rocket, and it's the fairing size on our ride to space. The Ariane 5, provided by the European Space Agency, is one of the world's most powerful rockets. To cheat the fairing size limit, we built Webb to fold, like origami, to fit inside the rocket fairing.
And this brings us to our most challenging part of this mission, unfolding it in space.
It is, John.
Thank God.
Think of what you're doing.
Yeah.
You're taking this extraordinarily delicate, precise, state-of-the-art scientific instrument, you're slapping it on a rocket, and for the next 8 minutes, the explosion from that rocket is following you into outer space. Vibrating you. Shaking you. Everything that goes into outer space has to live through this environment and work once it gets there without having someone come to fix it.
I like this video.
2 weeks. That's how long it would take to fully deploy the Webb telescope. We can take longer if we need to, but those 2 weeks after launch are going to be nail biters. This is the Mission Operations Center at the Space Telescope Science Institute in Baltimore. Those 2 weeks after launch will be like our Super Bowl, World Cup, you pick the analogy. Years of training comes down to these moments.
The Webb Observatory has 50 major deployments, 50 depending on how you categorize them, and 178 release mechanisms must work to deploy those 50 parts. Every single one of them must work. Unfolding Webb is hands down the most complicated spacecraft activity we've ever done. Then again, nothing about Webb is easy. We've never done any of this before. There's nothing simple about sending anything into space. You can't do it without taking risks.
I like this guy. I like this guy a lot.
This mission is squarely in new spacecraft territory. Webb is the perfect example of science desire driving engineering capability to new frontiers. Webb's unique design was born from reasoned engineering to accomplish its science goals.
Here's the plan. Shortly after launch, we unfold Webb's solar panel for power and our Huygens antenna for communication. About 12 hours later, we have an important engine firing that sends Webb on the proper course towards its orbital destination, about 1 million miles away. That's where Webb will do its science. Webb will be moving so fast, it passes the moon's orbit in 1.5 days, half the time it took Apollo astronauts to reach lunar orbit. First, we lower the sunshield pallet, then raise Webb's primary mirror and instruments away from the sunshield. The solar wind will push us around with the sunshield open, so we'll unfold a trim tab to help keep us stable.
Dude, that's so cool.
We've got these huge, iconic, golden segmented mirrors that will help us deliver amazing new images from the cosmos. But in some ways, the sunshield is a lot more complicated, and it's just as essential. Without it, nothing works.
Here we've got 5 sunshield layers, of approximately 8,900 square feet, almost the size of 3 tennis courts, a very thin Kapton material, about 1 to 2/1000ths of an inch thick. Making them go where you want them to go in 0G is extremely challenging.
The sunshield shades the telescope from the heat of the sun, earth, and moon. The concept is simple, but there is nothing simple about the design or operation, especially when you get to space. Webb's sunshield assembly includes 140 release mechanisms, approximately 70 hinge assemblies, 8 deployment motors, bearings, springs, gears, about 400 pulleys, and 90 cables totaling 1,312 feet. All this just to keep the sunshield under control as it unfolds. First, we release these special restraints that protect the sunshield during launch. They roll out of the way, but not all the way until we are ready to deploy aside. Next, we release a set of covers over the core region. Now comes the critical point. All 107 sunshield release mechanisms need to fire on cue. 107. They free the 5 sunshield layers, allowing them to extend as the mid-booms deploy.
Sunshield fully deployed, we start setting up the optics. First, the secondary mirror is extended and locked into place, and a special radiator behind Webb is extended, which helps further lower the temperature of the science instruments. Finally, we open the primary mirror's wings and lock them in place. With that done, Webb is in its final configuration, but we're not done yet.
After 47 deployments, and accomplishing the hardest spacecraft unfolding NASA has ever done, Webb still won't be ready for science.
While the instruments cool, we'll control motors behind each of Webb's 18 mirror segments, a secondary mirror, and the fine steering mirror located inside the center of the primary mirror. We'll precisely align the mirror segments to form a perfect mirror. Then, Webb will be ready to explore the cosmos.
What a great video. That was fantastic. That was awesome. Dude, so cool.
Discovery, go and throttle up.
Nice. Yo, how's things? Do it be like they say? Well, sometimes they don't think it be like it is, Fang, but it do. Can you check your link? There's a lot of stuff to unpack here. What am I looking at here, Rubio?
4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. Atlas V takes flight, sending Lucy to uncover the fossils.
This is just a replay of Lucy launching. Is there something that I'm not supposed to see here? Or something that I missed? I'm confused. They're installing the last cryo shell. Sweet. I think I understand why this thing costs $10 billion. This might be the most advanced orbital platform ever made. It is. That was probably the second best space video ever. The shuttle one was better. Yep. What's that, Phil? The crazy stuff. James Webb, 300 single-point failure riders, 50 individual deploy mechanisms, 178 release mechanisms, 400 pulleys, 8 deployment motors, 1,312 feet of cable, propulsion in RCS. All this plus more. It's a beast, man. It's really a beast of a satellite. We should launch 3. Nice, Switchio. Sheathing the last cryo shell right now. Dude, that was cool. That's a really awesome video. Yeah, send 3 and link them in an interferometer array. Agreed. Did I see your video? It was AFK, sorry. No. What is this? We're able to read the rewards. What is it? I'm scrubbing through it right now, Flykin. What is this? Oh, Magnus effect. Cool. Yeah, that's the Magnus effect. Pretty neat, huh? That's really cool. Of all the ways Brimo involved to get Brimo involved in the Boston sports Twitterverse, you had to go that route. Hibbett, she did it on her own. I had nothing to do with it. Yeah, that's really neat, Flykin. Could you show it on stream? Maybe have someone explain how they do that. Guy, I'm running out of time. I'm going to the Red Sox game. We can do it some other time, buddy. Yeah, I'm running out of time, man. I got voluntold to go to the Red Sox game. Primo got a line on some really, really inexpensive tickets at Fenway, and I'm not gonna not go. Alright, so let's go over here. After this, NASA need to start a new one, but bigger and more powerful. The Louvoir, they're already doing that. There's the Louvoir, and then there's W First. They're working on it. Where are your seats? Right field line. Right field line, 9th row. No, I mean they're not bad seats. We're about halfway to pesky Jim. Not many people will understand what that means, and that's kind of the point. All right. So, this is coming from NASA Commercial Crew here. We got a launch update. Maybe you'll catch a grand slam tonight. We're in foul territory, so where you're going to the Sox game? Remo came in here, Hibbit, a second ago and was like, you want to go to the Red Sox game? I'm like, now? She's like, yeah. And I'm like, where are we sitting? So, yeah, I guess that's a thing. So yeah, I'm gonna go. I followed you on Twitter. Thanks, Rubio. Hey, what have you been doing with the 3D printer lately? Collecting dust, mostly. Yeah, collecting dust with my 3D printer. Not much, Ghost One. I gotta fix it. Well, not fix it. It's already fixed. I gotta use the damn thing. I'll figure out something to do with it. Alright, so NASA and SpaceX are now targeting 2:21 on Sunday, October 31st for the Crew 3 mission to the space station. Crew 3 is scheduled to arrive at the orbiting laboratory early on the morning of Monday, November 1st. So that's... Oh, great. That's Hunt the Streamer. Then take this as a gift I hope you'll never see again. I hope the Red Sox win. That's strange coming from you, alright. Just to update you on the airport project, everybody is making good progress. We have fully leveled out the airport and are working on the taxiway. By this Saturday, we should be ready to lay down the runway surface. Let me see, Tiggs. Oh, man, that's amazing. Holy crap, dudes. Bro, get some. That's ridiculous, man. I can't believe that. Well, alright. Yo, that's awesome. How do you make those curves? We have a very talented team of engineers. Judo, that's a community Minecraft server. I can accept the Sox winning because my boy Schwarber will win. Schwarber, oh, he's good, man, really good. All right, what was the website though? It's the Dine map. Civilian airport or military base? A small regional airport. Just start off, King. Find someone who loves you like the Red Sox love hitting grand slams against the Astros. It is ridiculous, isn't it? It's so absurd. All right. We got a couple of more things here. Did anyone ask the alligators? There was no alligators around. There's a couple of horses. We humanely relocated them to other geographic areas. Runway 1836. That one, yeah. Yep. Actually, it might be 927. Hold on. 9 or 27. Oh, no. 1836. Yep. Bill, I'm going to make sure we get all the hash marks right, the runway thresholds right, all the markings, the numbers are going to be correct. Yeah, we got to do all that. It has to be right. Are you taking tough enough to the game? Probably not. Where are the hangars going? If you guys want to participate in that project, talk to Tiggs. He's my project lead for the airport. The hangars are going on the east side of that runway. And the terminal as well. Yeah, exactly, Thomas. Do you live close enough to walk to the game? Nah. You can take the train. Train would be better. I could walk to the train and get to the game. And the train can be there in not very long. Anyway, here, check this out. Little bit of SpaceX news here. SpaceX has submitted plans for further on-site development at Roberts Road. This is their Falcon 9 refurbishment facility. An outline for this expansion has been visible of both satellite imagery and ISS imagery for the last month. So that's pre-existing. That's what they're adding. They're putting a building extension on there. Oh, yeah. Wow, that's going to be a big building. That's right, Sirius. You got it. Have you considered a military base a while outside of the city at some point? Maybe. That's called betting on Falcon 9's future. All right, so we got another promo vid from Rocket Lab here in more news. Let's see what we got. That's some footage we haven't seen before. So Rocket Lab is going to do one more splashdown mission where the booster soft lands in the ocean, and then they're going to go and do missions where they try to catch the first stage with a helicopter. So the first stage has a parachute, and they'll fly a helicopter near it, basically grab the parachute rigging. The parachute will fall over, and then the helicopter will just move the booster around and bring it back, which is pretty nuts. The whole idea is to avoid having the booster hit water, because you don't want salt water inundating your spaceflight architecture. That would be bad. If it wasn't designed for it, let me put it that way. And it's not designed for it. The booster with the red interstage in the last tweet in the thread is the catch booster. Salt water, bad. There you go. That's the one, that's the catch booster over there. Pretty awesome. Look at how many of those they have. If and when the Sox get into the World Series, who do you want to play? Braves, or the Dodgers? I don't care. I don't care. It's just nice to be there, Vola. If I had to choose, I don't know. Probably the Braves, because the Dodgers, like I said, the Dodgers are my NL team. I don't want the Red Sox to play the Dodgers. That would suck. On the other hand, though, have mid-air catches been done before by others or other things? Yes, but a little bit different, Sadakovsky. Stuff has been caught by helicopter coming back from space before. Early spy satellites used to have film on them. And then when the spy satellite took its pictures, right, it would jettison the film canister. And the film canister would be inside of a little pod, and that pod would come down, and it would parachute, and you don't want your film getting wet, so they would catch it with a helicopter. Or was it an airplane? Yeah, stuff has been caught coming back from space before. Not like this, though. It's never been done like this. Have you read Truth, Lies, and O-Rings by Dr. Alan McDonald? Just finished it. It was very interesting background on the Challenger accident. No, I haven't. It was a C-130 at one point. Yeah, that sounds about right. Newly named Captain John Young Hanger honors the legendary NASA astronaut. Cool. All right, so this is what I was holding on to for the very end. Now, if you want your Starship update, basically they're putting on the last cryo shell for the orbital launch pad, basically indicating that all major subassemblies for Starship's orbital launch pad are at the launch site and not being staged somewhere. Also, the catcher arms and the trolley mechanism is up and off the ground right now. Right now it's being hoisted by not hoisted, but it is being lifted by the crane, but it's kind of sat there for a little while. If you see that, and then they're putting on the last cryo shell right there. Starship testing for the day was scrubbed. They will do hopefully a static fire test tomorrow or no earlier than tomorrow. Hey, Toity, what's going on? They should. I'm going to go ahead and guess that they scrubbed the Starship testing to hoist the carrier arms into place. That might happen a little bit later in the night, but check this out, guys. Something you guys might think is a little crazy. So NASA NASA has this website called NASA Technical Resources, or NTRS for short. NTRS is basically where you see a lot of like different designs from NASA, like my information about the X-33 and flying the X-33 and getting my X-33s in KSP to fly like the X-33s in real life, or projected at least, came from NASA Technical Resources. With that being said, a user on Twitter named Barry Jenkins, I think is the guy's name, found some new stuff that was posted to NASA's Technical Resources. Now, I could sit here and explain it, but here, just look. Now keep in mind this is most likely just a design study, but yeah. It's a Starship deep space exploration vehicle. There's a whole PDF with it. A common habitat deep space exploration vehicle for transit and orbital operations from NASA's Johnson Space Center. When outfitted as a habitat, the SLS core stage liquid oxygen tank is a pressure vessel that can be used to support exploration in deep space. An exploration spacecraft can be constructed with this habitat, known as the command habitat, as its central element. More than just a transfer vehicle, this spacecraft is a deep space exploration vehicle, a microgravity science laboratory capable of conducting research with onboard human crews throughout the inner solar system. Supplied with propellant by low Earth orbit depots, preliminary trajectory and delta-v estimates indicate that the spacecraft can perform flyby or orbital missions with trajectories close enough to the Sun to intersect the orbit of Mercury or far enough away to fly by the main belt asteroid Vesta. Its primary mission, however, is to support human expeditions to Mars. Many, though not all, of the pressurized and unpressurized elements that compose the deep space exploration vehicle can be used in surface base camps on the Moon and Mars. In addition to traditional space science disciplines, the spacecraft offers unique potential for small asteroid retrieval and for artificial gravity research. These launches are used to deploy the spacecraft. 3 launches are used to deploy the spacecraft, but 39 launches are used to deliver propellant to orbit to fully fuel the spacecraft for deep space missions. Key operations in a Mars crewed mission are described to illustrate how the vehicle is used, and forward work is listed to mature the spacecraft concept. I just want to see the pictures. Didn't we talk about how they should just take a LOX tank and put it on top of an exploration upper stage the other day? Maybe I dreamt it. I distinctly recall having this conversation about what you could do with SLS. You could make a really awesome transfer vehicle if you took the core stage's LOX tank, put it on top of the EUS, SLS's bigger upper stage, and then attached a capsule to the front of that. Didn't we say that? That's very peculiar. Common habitat is the conceptual central element of a human spaceflight architecture signified by a long-duration habitat designed to be equally sustainable for human use in different gravity environments. Holy shnikes. Figure 6 pressurized rover for in-space missions. Prism. Oh boy, orbital tugs. A 40-inch by 60-inch by 40-inch by 60-inch multi-gravity active-active mating adapter. What does it spin? It spins. It's a long link, guys. It spins. It's a spinning docking port. I think they were in talks with Elon about this. I don't know. Logistics module within the interstage dock to the common habitat. How did... Whoa, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Thomas, are you here? This piece. You remember that starship that Elon said was a Pathfinder? This one, right there. It could be. It's just a very similar shape. That's all. Yeah, fellas, it's just a super similar shape. It's like almost exact. That's very that it's a little curious there. That just happens to be the exact same thing minus the nose cone part. Huh. Nice, Alex. Dude, what the hell is this? What is this? What is this? How? How is this gonna work? What? I mean, keep in mind, this is just NASA's technical resources. This is just an idea. It doesn't mean that they're doing it, guys, but this is an idea. What you can't really extrapolate from this what NASA is going to do in the future. What you can take from this is where NASA's mind is at for future architectures. The one key thing to take away here is that this has Starship incorporated into the architecture. That's a real big one right there. Once again, I want to say that again just because I know people are going to see this and be like, oh my God, that's what NASA's doing. You cannot... NTRS is not something that you can use to predict the future. If that was the case, the X-33 would be flying right now. Because NASA Technical Resources, all of NASA Technical Resources points towards the end... points towards the X-33 flying in like 2002. Yeah, that never happened. What you can do from this is figure out what NASA's thinking about. So basically, the NASA scientists that are sitting there are thinking about A, going to Mars, and B, using Starship to help do that. So there's a bunch of scientists sitting around at NASA at Johnson Space Center going, if we were going to go to Mars, how would we do it? What would be the best way to do it with what we have right now? It's very interesting that NASA is thinking about using starships and having starships in there. What I'm not getting here is why keep the starship. It's 100 tons of useless mass. If the ship, who says that those things don't detach? See what I'm talking about? Yeah, Control F. Nuclear reveals some information. The core of the unpressurized segment of the DSEV is a trio of modified starships that serve as the main propulsion system of the DSEV. 2 are LOX CH-4 chemical propulsion starships that operate in a manner similar to traditional starship, except that they are part of a larger spacecraft stack. The third, in the center, is a nuclear electric propulsion starship. Its propellant tanks are filled with xenon instead of oxygen and methane, and it extends with a roughly 2 megawatt nuclear power element from the surface power zone, and twin booms, each terminating in electric propulsion thrusters. That's a great picture, Vulcan. It deploys an approximately 3,000 square meter radiator, and it also contains a large remote manipulator system that it uses to deploy an interstage segment. The 3 starships use a mechanism analogous to the jointable undercarriage to maximize payload mating mechanism to structurally mate to each other. The DSEV propulsion system is sized to be capable of a total mission delta V of 12 kilometers a second. Wow. This is a rough estimate calculated using a hybrid propulsion architecture consisting of liquid methane and liquid oxygen, chemical propulsion with a 361-second ISP, and xenon nuclear electric propulsion with an intentionally very conservative 1,200-second ISP. By comparison, the Gateway PPE has a specific impulse of 2,400 seconds. The chemical specific impulse is tied to the known engine performance, and the 1,200-second specific impulse is intentionally very conservative as the electric thrusters have not been identified. Any actual thruster is likely to have a significant greater specific impulse, leading to an increased delta V. That means conservatively rating this in a baseline estimate gives you 12 kilometers a second delta V. That's enough to go anywhere in the solar system. Well, that's enough to go anywhere in the solar system. It's enough to go anywhere close in the solar system and back. Here. The interstage is the structural member connecting the NEP Starship to the common habitat's aft ring frame. It encircles the aft logistics module like an unpressurized garage and has sufficient open space that the remote manipulator system can be used to dock and undock the logistics module. The interstage also contains the DSEV communications transmitters and receivers. Figure 10 shows a logistic module docked to the common habitat and contained within the interstage. The interstage also has mounting locations where additional logistics modules can be berthed. The interstage is equipped with 6 passive flanges, each of which constitutes a berthing port. Wow. What is it made out of? Holy shnikes. The Deep Space Exploration Vehicle is assembled in low Earth orbit, leveraging experience gained with with assembly of the International Space Station and taking advantage of real-time communications. A low Earth orbit assembly also maximizes the number of elements that can be delivered in a single launch from a physics and budgetary perspective. A launch vehicle capable of delivering 100 tons or greater to low Earth orbit at a launch cost roughly less than or equal to the $62 million advertised cost for a Falcon 9 is required to support this architecture.
Discovery, go at throttle up.
About that. When you get a chance, could I get a link to this? Yeah, there you go. Yeah, you don't have a launch vehicle to make this. It is presumed in this analysis that such a vehicle would be available. For purposes of this paper, Starship is used as an example of this capability. The required capability must also contain sufficient volume to accommodate each manifest and to derive a packaging and deployment scheme. Notional manifest has been estimated to deploy and assemble the DSEV in 3 cargo launches. Assuming these capabilities, 1 cargo launch contains most of the unpressurized elements of the DSEV and establishes its propulsion power, thermal, and communications capability. The cargo includes 12 electric propulsion thrusters, radiator assembly, 2 megawatt fission nuclear reactor, communications array, remote manipulator system, interstage, and approximately 25 tons of propellant. Cargo Launch 2 is dedicated exclusively to the common habitat as the only payload. Cargo Launch 3 completes the DSEV, and its cargo includes 2 PRISM, 1 IDSS, International Docking System Standard, MGA-AMA, that's the Spinny Boy ports, 1 4x4, 3 6x6, 1 4x6, the TCAN and 12 externally telemetered science instruments and 2 logistics modules. It's just a concept, guys. It's a design study. This is NASA. Like I said, you cannot extrapolate what NASA is trying to do from this PDF. This is not their future plans. This is an idea for what they could do with the presumed resources available in the near future. Meaning that they could do this if they wanted to. But, once again, what's very telling from this is the vehicles. The vehicles that they're using. What is telling from this is showing what NASA will think, what NASA would think would be available by the time you do something like this, i.e., cargo launches for SLS-derived equipment, meaning SLS is operational. Starship propellant depots, meaning that Starship is operational. This is basically NASA saying, what could we do with a fully operational SLS and a fully operational Starship? This is what they could do. It's a good idea. Hey, Star Knight. Hello from France. Bonjour. See what I'm talking about? It's what they could do. It's very interesting. I like it. This is ballsy. I like it. I especially like these things. Somebody said I'm really interested in those. Yeah, the prisms. Very interesting. That is it's an in-space tug. That's basically what that is. It's a tug. It's the NASA equivalent of Star Trek Shuttle Enterprise. That's the equivalent of one of those. Well, not exactly that. More like this. But you get the idea. That's 1701D, but you understand what I'm trying to say. That's what PRISM is. PRISM is on-orbit space tugs with docking ports on them. That's derived. It seems to be derived from NASA's rover, which is interesting. They are, Synerd, pretty much. It's just NASA's rover with no wheels and a service module attached to the back, which is smart. So yeah, very interesting stuff coming out of NASA. That's really cool to see. Last flocks. And with it being nuclear powered, it won't need solar. This is game changing. This could get out to Jupiter at a decent speed to check Europe's oceans. Yeah, there you go. Europa's oceans. Yep. This is basically a work bee then. Yep. No, it happened. Why does it always... Oh, don't do that. It's just not funny. Yeah, there you go, Thomas. Looking from SpaceX's view, why do you need SLS parts? In such a configuration without SLS, you still have 2 usable cargo holds from those left and right spaceships. If NASA wants to pay you to build this in your SpaceX fin, I'm pretty sure SpaceX ain't going to say no. Can the Bright Wheeler process enable warp accelerations? It depends on the dilithium crystals. Space Herb, 26-month resub. Sweet. Okay. So, fellas, what did you think? Today's space news is pretty good. Here, we'll end space news with something like this. Here, look at this. Leroy posted these. Look at these. Hey. Old school. That copper head, though, could be brass. I was there right before lockdown. What a sight. Nice. This is a French Air and Space Museum. Oh, hey. Ooh. Hey. Hey there, beautiful. Oh. Cool. Neat. Wonder what that's doing there. Yo, look at that thing. Nice. Oh, very nice. P-51, P-47, Spitfire, C-47. Focke-Wulf 190. Oh. That's a lot of ITBs. Oh. I like that. That's really nice. That's really cool. That's really cool. Oh. Yeah, look at those magnetos. That's a lot of fuel delivery systems. Oh, that's so legit. That's really cool. You're missing one though. You can't afford it. I know I can't afford it, man. You don't need to be a jerk about it. The H-34, that's cool. It's got a B-17 engine in the front. Seriously. There's a radial B-17 engine and its drive shaft goes up here and out the top. True story. Will that fit in tough enough? I don't think so. But maybe. Hey. An H-1. Saturn 1 engine. Sputnik. Nice. Chopstick lift has been scrubbed for the day. A true death trap? No, these were good helicopters. These are good helicopters. Very subject to overheating, though. because air cooling a 16-cylinder engine is not a good idea, Tessa. Not a bad design, it's just that turbines are way better. You might like this, lower the sound, it's a bit loud. Nah, I'm good. Guys, I gotta go. I'm never gonna make it to the game. Traffic's gonna be insane. So, I hope you enjoyed Space News for the day, guys. I was gonna do KSP, but we'll just do KSP tomorrow. I usually don't say, oh, I'm not gonna stream today because of this, and I apologize for not streaming much over the past couple of days. But yeah, we got tickets to the Sox game. I'm gonna go do that. Linux, you're streaming now? Right on. Well, that's good. Have fun without us. I mean, yeah. You might have to watch the game if you end up being on television. Okay. Let's see who's out and about. Have fun with overpriced beer and hot dogs. Hey, Alex, oh, there's a picture of you there. That's nice. There you go. Have fun. Be watching here through the night in the Netherlands. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, and I was going to say, if you never watched baseball before, first of all, the game's like 4 hours long. Baseball has no time limit. Just thought I'd let you know. There's no time limit. Baseball games can go on forever. Seriously, you play until you win. Yeah, I know that's not, if you're not familiar with baseball, that's not really, or from overseas, yeah, that's not a thing overseas with certain games. Wear your RP1 Locks t-shirt and see if anybody notices, maybe. Anyway, didn't one game go by 22 innings? The longest baseball game has gone 122 innings, Vulcan. It was played over the course of a month in Pawtucket, Rhode Island. Yep. It was like 119, 120 innings. So, yeah, cricket can go for longer, Ali. Yeah, it's like cricket. You just keep going. Go Sox! So Caroline will be playing. Anyway, so I'm going to head out. Linux said he was streaming. Let's see who we can raid to. I wore my RP1 Locks t-shirt and nobody got it. Yeah, yeah, I probably won't. Just because no one's going to get it yet. Let's see who's out and about. Matt's playing Satisfactory? Dude, we haven't rated Matt in forever. Let's go see what Matt's up to. I want to go raid Matt for a change. We haven't rated him in forever. Let's go see what he's up to, guys. Thank you very much for watching. I will talk to you guys. I might be back a little bit later tonight. Most likely not. And the game, if the game begins at 8, I'm not coming home till midnight. So if I don't see you tonight, I will see you tomorrow. We'll resume the regular schedule. I'm going to do Kerbal early hours again so we can get the big SSTO going, and hopefully we get everything done. There's something anomalous going on with the pad, with the big one, and we'll figure that out and we'll get it launching. So thank you very much for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed the Space News. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Have a good night, okay? Laters. See you guys. Thank you.